Welcome back to the highly anticipated mashup review that I should have done a while ago. I even made bagels for the occasion. Good stuff. I'm going to try and bust through as many of these as I can, but still give thorough feedback. I'm going to try and do my best. I'm really sorry that Twitch hasn't been working. It's been really awful that my computer is just crapping the bed all the time. Eventually, I'm going to get a new computer, probably by Christmas. And for now, I have this trusty Mac that can at least open like one window at a time. Alright, let's go. Starting off, we have a mashup from Zachary F Parker. Let's see where this takes us.
I chimed in with a haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn door? No, it's much better to face these kinds.
So that was Rock My Palace, Beyond the Throne. It was submitted by Zachary F Parker. This is an interesting mashup because I feel like it works in like an experimental way. Sounds like a weird like experimental like hip hop track where like the rapping is like a little bit out of key, but it actually works. Like there are quite a few rappers that can pull off like out of key singing on hooks and make it sound cool, and I think it actually sounds cool here. My one thing is that towards the end, the synth part doesn't necessarily mesh with the instrumental, but overall, I did enjoy this. And I think it's very interesting. I don't know if there's like an official acapella for the song you got the acapella from. But it sounded like there wasn't, but you did your best with an acapella. I enjoyed this. It was also like perfectly quantized, so good job. Next up we have a mashup from Fluke Human. Let's see what we have here. It's an interesting name for a Patreon handle.
I chimed in with a haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn door? No, it's much better to face these kinds of things.
I'm out of bagels. Can you ever tell when someone had a lot of fun making a mashup? Because I could just tell right now. A lot of fun with the EQing. A lot of fun with making Eminem sound like a chipmunk towards the end. I had a lot of fun listening to it. I definitely wish there were some more like heavy drums in there. I wish like the drums were like just really hitting hard. I think the EQing might have tinkered with the drums a little too much. Other than that, I think the sound design was very interesting. All three songs kind of are kindred spirits and can all fit together. I mean, it might be a little distracting to have two vocal parts at the same time for some people, but not me. I totally... The middle to the end, when it switched from E minor to G minor, the key of Bad Guy and Without Me, it did sound a little weird with Jack White's vocals, which were not in G minor over it, but overall, I definitely enjoyed this, like, quite a bit. I really did enjoy this mashup. I thought it was a breath of fresh air in this mashup scene. Definitely enjoyed the hell out of it. Good job. Next up is a mashup from Hunter Forsberg, friend of the show. It looks like it's a Mesouljah and Soulja Boy mashup. I am excited and horrified. Let's go.
I chimed in with a haven't you people ever heard of.
I've been memed. That was pretty good. I definitely think Soulja Boy could have lined up with the Mesouljah instrumental a little bit more. Just like really hit the downbeat when Mesouljah did. But, I mean, great idea. I found it really funny. The ear fuckery at the end. Nice touch. Next up, we have a mashup from Talking Carcass 8. What could it be?
I chimed in with a haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn door? No.
So that was Weezer Guitar. Weezer and Winter Guitar mashup. So the Winter Guitar instrumental is super hard to work with. In order to make a truly great Winter Guitar mashup, you need to find out the tempo, where it switches up, where it changes, and you also need to find out the key of the Winter Guitar song, which is like G major / E minor. The Weezer song was in E flat major. Another thing is, on paper, Say It So is not one of the Weezer songs I would think of fitting with Winter Guitar the most. Think of a song that fits the tempo and like energy of the Wintergatan song a little bit more. Like Buddy Holly would work pretty amazingly over the Wintergatan instrumental if you just pitched it correctly and quantizing. I think it's an interesting idea to put Weezer over the Wintergatan music, but I definitely think you should figure out the tempo of the Wintergatan song. Sometimes it switches bar by bar. Pitch up the Weezer a cappella by one semitone. If you just figure both of those things out, you could probably make a very good Weezer and Wintergatan mashup. As is, it needs a little bit of work, but I'm not mad at the result. Next up, we have a mashup from TallMatt, as opposed to ShortMatt, who is not a patron of my channel, but shout out to ShortMatt and TallMatt, especially TallMatt, because TallMatt is actually a patron. Alright, let's go! Star number 9.
I chimed in with a haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn door? No, it's much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poison ration.
So that was a mashup of Engine number 9 and All-Star by TallMatt. I enjoyed the hell out of that one. I think if I had anything that I would have added to that, I would have added some of the turntable scratches from All-Star, because this song is like proto-nu metal, and I always think of like very early nu metal as being the perfect accompaniment for just some crazy turntable action. I think as is, this is really good, well above average. I would say that All-Star worked perfectly. When you saw that it wouldn't have worked over a part, you kind of left it out, and I really appreciate that. I think the vocals were on beat most of the time. There were a few parts where maybe you added in the All That Glitters Is Gold or the whistling where it was a little bit offbeat, but you made up for that with the fact that like when the song changed tempo, you changed tempo with the song, and that is something very few mashup artists do. I really enjoyed the hell out of this one. It was really funny. I think the vocals could have been a little bit louder overall, but as far as mashups go, this is definitely one of the best I've heard on the mashup review. So good job. This next mashup is by Radioactium, which I'm not sure if that's a periodic element, but we'll have to check. So this mashup was suggested by Nathan Stringer. I don't think Nathan Stringer is Radioactium. Maybe he discovered Radioactium. Maybe it's like an element that he found himself while mining, but I don't know. Alright, meme. 200 followers. Actually, before we start, let's see how many followers Radioactium has. Radioactium has 1,867 followers. Good job, Radioactium. You kept it up. You have way more than 200 followers. Good job. Alright, let's go.
I chimed in with a haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn door? No, it's much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poison.
What was that? No. It's a meme buffet. With Fairly Odd Parents, Sing, that jazz song, Megalovania. Why? What was that? Help! Why? I mean, to continue with the buffet analogy, some of it works, some of it doesn't, but that's the point. It's a buffet. Oh my god. Help! Next up, we have a mashup either by or suggested by Anthony Lopez. See what it is? It looks like Usher and Necro. Yeah, music for you to die to. Let's check it out.
I chimed in with a haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn door?
So that was Usher and Necro. Yeah, music for you to die to. It sounded like a horrorcore rapper trying to sell out in the early 2000s and make like a club-ready banger with like murderous lyrics. I think the idea is interesting. The execution for me leaves a little bit to be desired. I think the tempo of the Necro song was very different from Usher's song, and I think if they were both at the same tempo or on the same beat, I think they would be much more compatible. As is, it kind of sounds a little offbeat, like the rhythm. It kind of reminds me of Blueface, how he kind of treats like a beat that he's on. I think this would have benefited from finding the tempos of both songs and kind of making them work. As is, it's basically a Blueface song with like more horrorcore influence and a 2000s prom night dance beat. But I don't know, if that's your thing, check it out. I mean, check out all the mashups that I list down in the description, because they're all for you to check out.
I chimed in with a happy